Hey, it's Bryan with DD214 Transport. Please like, subscribe, hit the little bell for notification. Look, guys, tonight we're at we're at Crossroads. American Freight System is at a crossroads. One road leads to enforcement, lower insurance rates, stability. The other leads to collapse, higher insurance rates, lower standards, and public distrust. Tonight we're talking about it. How immigration policy, weak CDL enforcement brought trucking to this moment in time. Now, let's be real. If you're legal, you're trained, and you're qualified, this conversation isn't about you. If standards don't matter, nothing else does. And that is an absolute fact. We have a lot going on tonight. We're trying out a new platform. We've got Roman here. I got Jason on board. And I've opened up the floor to anybody else that, wants to join in and has something to say. So we're going to see how this all works out. Now, before we get too far into this evening, I want to, number one, give you our lease on and dispatch information. If we can help you in one of these two areas, please reach out. We'd love to talk to you. And we want to thank our veterans and first responders for all you do and all you continue to do for this country. Thank you from the bottom of my heart. Thank you. We'll see about getting this thing going. Want to say hey real quick. Hey, Jason. How you doing this evening, buddy? We got Roman in the house. Everybody's here. Yep, good deal. Yep. All right. So let's pull this off. Okay. All right. Here's some numbers for you. I want you to put these in your head, so it sort of gives you a baseline of where we got to go yet. We have these are official estimates. They're not speculated. They're exactly what the government puts out. But 14 million undocumented or unauthorized immigrants are currently in the U.S. 14 million. Experts are estimating that roughly 100,000 undocumented truck drivers are still in the U.S. The government come out and said they have put 9,500 commercial truck drivers out of service nationwide. Now, California has 17,000 CDLs on hold right now, delayed by a court action to be revoked. Now, this immigration can has been kicked down the road for far too long, and it's why we are where we are today. Immigration policy and CDL integrity breakdowns, non-domicile CDL abuse, weak state enforcement, lawsuit delaying cleanup, CDLs for sale, CDL schools, and testing integrity failures. This isn't about where someone come from, what color they are. It's none of that. It's whether or not the United States rules mean anything. But somebody out there, please help me understand this just a little bit. I've said this to my friends, and I still haven't got a good answer. But how is it, and in what other country does someone enter your home illegally, refuse to leave, and then sues you for trying to enforce the rules? Because that's what people are calling normal now. In trucking, if you're unqualified, you're off the road. There's no lawsuits, no delays. So how did we get to a place where illegal entries, undocumented people have more legal protection than American CDL holders. How the hell does that work? Is a constitutional amendment necessary? Maybe, maybe not. The Constitution already allows enforcement. What's missing is will. And what has been missing is the will, to the execution and the consistency, not authority. We have the authority to do it. We just haven't had the will to do it. When lawsuits delay enforcement, that's what's going on today. It's usually because agencies failed to follow their own policies. Rules were applied inconsistently. Due process wasn't clearly documented. That's an administrative failure, not a constitutional deficiency. However, what rights should someone who is in the country illegally have? What are their rights? Miss Mila's up here with a big fat Z, but obviously we're wrong. I don't think we need a new constitution. We need the courage to enforce the one we already have, period. Now, this is something that has come up to me on 15 or 20 occasions, and that is the 14th Amendment. And that is, it basically says if you're born here, you're an American citizen. However, let's slide down here a minute. Let's read this. The 14th Amendment was written after the Civil War to ensure citizenship of freed slaves, not to create an automatic citizenship for the children of people who entered the country illegally. At the time when the 14th Amendment was written, there was no concept of illegal entry as we know it today. Immigration was largely unregulated. The amendment authors explicitly discussed including foreign nationals who owed allegiance to other countries. Okay? Birthright citizenship as it's practiced today wasn't voted on. It wasn't debated honestly or clearly ruled on by the Supreme Court. It evolved because nobody wanted to touch it. And now we pretend it's untouchable. Now, these subjects are going to get a little testy here tonight. And if it does, good. So let's talk about it. What do you think? Hey, Jason, we're going to let you go first this time, brother.
You know, I'm trying to go back to your fact screen. I don't know if it's available or you can see it easily, but it's hard for me to comprehend the scope of what we're talking about when we say, was it 14,000? 9,500 million drivers have been pulled out of service.
Oh, no, just 9,500.
That's what 9,500 is what I think I said. So, you know, what is that compared to how many CDL drivers we have?
Less than 10%.
17. I'm sorry. Say it again.
You got 100,000 undocumented drivers, and 95 has been pulled out, so that's 9.5%.
Yeah.
Yes, but out of our total population of drivers, what is that? And I think it amounts to nothing.
Yeah.
Yeah, nothing.
We haven't touched it. 17,000 CDL holders coming out of California that are on suspension or hold. What does that even mean?
Well, there were 17,000 of them illegally given.
In other words,
I'm sorry, your question?
17,000. How many of them were actually driving? I had a CDL and I hadn't touched the road in years. So did that affect anything at all? I feel like we're seeing all these big numbers And they're tiny numbers when you put it into the perspective of what our industry is actually doing and how many people are involved with it. I think if we actually saw enforcement, you'd see trucks lined up for 2 miles down the road from every way station in America because we've got drivers that are out there illegally. I don't think it's even being touched what we should be doing right now.
So I actually want to. So what part of what I'm going to actually say is going to hit on that about the enforcement on the CDL side. But I did want to say 14 million undocumented. I think it's 1.4 have self-deported. So that's a good thing. But like you say, what that number that's nothing compared to the 14 million. And let's be real here. We know it's more than 14 million. But I did want to mention that 1.4 have self-deported. The 17,000 CDLs in California, that hasn't been held up through a lawsuit. 2 lawsuits, actually. Right. One's a class action, the other one's something else. But so the thing with that, so Duffy
how the hell does that even work?
Well, so here's what I'm going to explain. Duffy implemented the September rules, if you guys remember. And they're rules that we had, but he made them. Basically, what he did is he said, if you are not a permanent resident of the United States, you cannot have a CDL. So that means if you're an asylum seeker, but you were allowed to have a CDL, you have to recheck that now. He's not saying you can't have it. If you're here on a temporary stay with a work visa, okay, you have to get permission to have a CDL. It has to explicitly say that. Whereas before, if you had a work visa, but you weren't a permanent resident, you can drive a truck. Okay. Now, why is he doing that? Why is he doing that? Because a lot of and this goes to what you were saying, Jason, a lot of these CDL holders that are here on asylum or they're here on protection status because some war 25 years ago, and they're here on a protection status or DACA workers. A lot of these people come here, they say the magic words, they get on this work temporary status, and then they never show up to their court dates to discuss their asylum, right? Whether they can stay or not. So by doing this, he's essentially
can type it in
he's taking out all of those people. So that number, 9,500 that have been knocked out so far, if these rules are allowed to stay in place, they're obviously in a hole now because of this lawsuit. And the federal government's being sued too, not just the state of California. Different grounds, but if Duffy's allowed to do this, you're going to see that number go up because a lot of those asylum seekers are illegal. They're illegal. They never went to their thing, but they've been allowed to go through the system. Same with the temporary. What do you call it? It's like asylum. You know what I'm talking about. The temporary stay.
Yeah, it's a temporary status until they have their hearing.
Protection status. Yeah, and so a lot of these people, they come. Nobody's enforcing this. Like you said, there has been no political will to enforce any of this. So we have people that are here driving trucks illegally. They were legal now. They were allowed to do it, and then they're not allowed to do it, but they're still doing it. So that's what Duffy's trying to weed out with these September rules that are now being challenged by the courts. There was also I
was just going to say Jan's just joined us. I'll
okay.
Bring him on here in a minute. So that goes. People have any standing or have any? How can they sue?
Well, so the group suing the state of California are actually an Indian group because the guy was an Indian or something. So that's a group suing because California. I guess California got so fed up with Duffy, they were just like, screw it, we're just gonna cancel all non-domiciles.
Shit.
And we'll go, anybody who is technically legal still, you're just going to have to redo your thing and square that away with the federal government. And that was going to happen this coming week, I think. And they stopped it. It's on hold now. How do you do it, man? Because this it's the only country where you can come in here and we sue us for enforcing our laws, basically.
All right.
And their complaint is that we didn't have enough time. So that's what they're saying.
Well,
I mean, I
they
think
had
90
enough time
plus
to
days.
come in illegally. So, hey, Jan, I hope you're doing all right. Your mic's off. If you can hear me, there you go. Hey, buddy.
Hey.
Hey, I'm getting ready to start the next part of this.
Hold on. I wanted to say something else.
One more thing.
Also, what you were talking about, the immigration policy, the non-decimal being abused, weak state enforcement lawsuits, the plane, all that is being corrected by Duffy. So it's but
that's what's led us here, and it's going to take a while to fix. It didn't get it didn't get broke in a minute. It's going to take more than a minute to fix it.
I just wanted to throw that out there, though.
I appreciate Duffy's efforts.
Yes, he's trying, man. He's trying. We just got to be patient.
Yeah. All right, so let's burn this up real quick. So the crossroads, what's it actually mean? Well, we're still in this freight recession, and some of it has to do with administrative policies on tariffs. We have insurance pressure, public safety expectations versus industry reality. The FMCSA suddenly tightened enforcement on non-domicile CDLs. They are doing audits and state compliance. This didn't happen overnight. It happened because the gates were left open too long. Guys, without a border, we don't have a country. You can't enforce rules that nobody cares about. Okay? So these things have to stop at the border. It's got to stop. I'm all for legal immigration. You come here legally and you want to assimilate into the country, hey, man, more power to you. God bless you. But just coming across the line and wearing out our system, people knowing how the system works and use the loopholes to get around everything, that's not a good thing, man. And that's what's happening. So the real damage to the trucking industry, this is where it hits home, guys. Insurance premium spike. If you guys don't know, our renewal was $250,000 for the year. You don't know quite what that looks like? That's what that looks like. That's $250,000 for insurance. And God forbid if I have to use it. If I have to use it, they're going to cancel it, which will put you out of business. So underwriters lose confidence. Small fleets get crushed because they're the first ones that can't absorb the pain. And then good drivers get lumped in with bad actors. And insurance doesn't care about politics. It cares about risk. And risk is what bad enforcement policy creates. When they're, everybody bitches about DOT, FMCSA, but if they're not out there doing what they're doing and getting the bad actors off the road, this is why insurance is killing everybody. So let's talk about that a minute. What you guys thinking? Jan, I'll let you go first, brother. What are you thinking?
Well, now, I don't know what you guys been talking about and what's been up in the air, but do you remember a while back, I called you and talked to you about an international license.
Yes.
That when I came over to the US in 2010, I came over and I had an international license. So it's not just the illegal that is able to get into the country and drive without being able to read and understand the signs. If your home country issues an international license that is valid in the US, you can come in here, you can drive totally legal for a year. And there is no test, no nothing to get an international license.
What? How are the rules different from where you came from to here?
Pretty much the same.
Okay, so that's probably why they're giving out
yeah,
of
but
it's.
I've been looking for it. I can't find. I think I actually burned the international license I had, but there was a whole list. The first page when you open the license, it's like a little booklet. There was a whole list of countries that is part of that agreement.
Oh, I got you.
Yeah.
I just walked into the office and said, I need an international license. I'm going to the United States. They needed a picture. It got pinched in there, stamped. Here you go, you're good to go. And coming over here, I could show my international license all the time. Nobody ever asked if I took any tests.
Wow. So when you got your CDL here, did you have to test out?
Well, the international license expired after 12 months from the issue date back in my home country. So when I came, it expired in 11, and I got my American CDL in 2013. That was with the test, the drive, the whole shebang.
Got it.
To actually pass the test.
Okay, thank you. Rome, what you got?
Well, like you said there on the thing, the FMCSA suddenly tightening up enforcement. Again, I think that's a positive in the long run. You know, like we were just saying, we got to be patient here, bro. That's going to be a positive because that touches on the non-domicile, the audits, and the state compliance. They're really cracking down on state compliance right now. Duffy is not joking around. And it gets me that you have states, I think Colorado was the latest state to think that somehow they're going to be the one that's going to stand against this man. You know, you had California, New Mexico, New York, but somehow Colorado's special. And they're going to be the ones that are going to, you know, that's just
drag your feet.
It's like, come on.
And why would you want to drag your feet? That's the other thing. I don't understand.
That's a political question.
So, hey, Jason, what do you got, buddy?
I'm listening to Roman. It's the state fighting the man, is what it sounds like. What he's trying to say. It's just it's silly, is what it is. It's absolutely ridiculous to think that you're going to change federal law because you're going to drag your feet enforcing the rules. They're coming. They're going to get it cleaned up eventually.
Exactly.
But back to the topic that was at hand, we were talking about insurance tightening up. All these things were happening in 2025. And I'm just trying to be hopeful about a 2026 that's coming. You know, we were here in 2025. I've got 3 months behind me driving a truck, 4 months behind me, I guess. We survived the rough stuff. And, you know, you started out saying 2025 was one of the worst rates we had, high insurance, just everything was happening at once. And, you know, guys, we're still here. we're still awesome. Bringing it in, taking it out. So I think
the big thing is, you know,
believe that there's a future coming.
Well, I think again, discipline, compliance, safety, what we preach here all the time is what's kept us alive. You know, we work with these brokers. You know, we get the job done for them, and they don't have to worry about any BS on the backside from us. We just want to get the job done and get it paid. So, I think that helps us out in the long run. But man, if you're not disciplined and you're not compliant and you're not safe, you're not going to be around the end of next year. It's going to take a lot more out. I'm telling you. Okay. Anything else, Miss Mila?
The
We have a lot of comments.
Oh, let's get some. I was just going to say the insurance is going to be that's not going to get fixed in 2026. That's going to be an ongoing issue.
No, and
all right, here we go.
Is probably the biggest concern I have as a driver is it's just outrageous. I mean, you just can't
it is.
keep up with that.
All right, so Kelly's asking a question here. It says, I've been in Tennessee and South Carolina recently at weigh stations and watched DOT make multiple foreign drivers out of service and stuff them right there. One driver was bold enough to change his DOT MC number right there in the parking lot before he got arrested. Damn, son. That's great.
I've seen I've seen that. Well, not that in particular, but I've seen them stop. On a shoulder, you see 2 or 3. What do you think they're doing? They're doing something sketchy.
Well, I think we've all seen it in a truck stop. Somebody changing their numbers.
Oh, absolutely.
That's the part that's scariest to me is these ghost companies are out there. They get fined out of business, taken out of service. Well, they just go get another DOT number and away they go again.
Well,
nothing changes. Why is that such an easy process?
Yep. All right. We got Mr. Copeland. Copeland, why didn't you come on live, man? All right. So in 2003, the post 9/11 posters were still in the truck stops. You truckers are the frontline defense against terrorism, illegal immigration, and human trafficking. Now it's become a venue for all. And it has. It's, you're right. I mean, this goes to policing our own industry of this stuff. If you see something, say something. It can't be just left to government officials to chase this stuff down. Us as part of this community have a responsibility, to say something if we see it. If you see a bad load securement go down the road, call the police. I mean, if you see anything that is abnormal, you need to make somebody aware of it. Okay, thanks, James. Kelly's back. Legally entering the country and assimilating, attaining your CDL is okay. Yeah, me too. I've personally seen ICE come out to my current employer and arrest people that were using stolen Social Security numbers and name of a local person for 8 years. They just finally caught him. Right. Yeah. And the stuff is so blatant that, and again, this has been kicked down the road through administrations to the point that it's now kicking back. It's now hit a wall. It's went too far, and now the can's flying back in everybody's faces. And I, for one, am tired of it. All of it. And I try not to bring too much politics onto this channel. But guys, I want to tell you something. That this has got to stop. There's too much of this going on to all aspects of the United States. And if we don't control it, at least on our part, a couple little pieces on our part, who else is going to do it? Go ahead.
Well, I think that's not even just us coming from this industry that, our topic of the day, that goes off to, the first Tuesday of November of last year. People decided the same thing, that they're tired of it. And you're seeing enforcement, though. I mean, this is how the comment that person just put up. This is the point of Duffy's enforcement of why he's doing what he's doing. That right there, that would have been gone under the rug. It would have been whatever. Nobody's looking because the states don't enforce it. They don't care. But now that there's, it's amazing how much you care when you're about to lose $45 million.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, they start caring.
Suddenly you care. And then you go out
but
and
this far left movement, I don't know what you guys think about it. Please pipe in since we're there. But this far left movement is out of control. I was talking to somebody the other day, and guys, if you want to be a cat and dress up as a cat and go meow and do whatever you do as a freaking cat, be a cat. But don't expect me to
provide you with kitty litter.
Well, I don't need to be accepting in your delusional bullshit. I mean, you want to be delusional, go do that. I shouldn't have to participate. I don't have to acknowledge it. Whatever. We talked about a lot of this stuff, and it was too much.
If you notice, a lot of the states that are pushing back are blue states.
Uber liberal.
California, New York, now Colorado's the next. Like I said, these guys, I don't. It's a losing issue for them. I don't know what they're trying to achieve here, but it's like Jason said. At the end of the day, they're going to comply because they have no choice. But I guess if they want to, make noise, go ahead.
We got a question right here. Curious if they will go after illegal brokers also. That's coming up, Nick. We're coming up on that in a minute. Yeah. Okay. Just hold tight. All right. DOT and FMCSA shift in enforcement. So the Motor Carrier Safety Administration issued rules tightening non-domicile CDL issuance. U.S. Department of Transportation warned states over improper CDL practices. Federal pressures include loss of highway funds. The FMCSA doesn't act like this unless it's a systemic problem. Okay? This isn't something that's just small or something that means there is a massive problem going on. Okay? So, non-domicile CDLs explained. I've had a lot of questions on this in the recent days, and I wanted to throw this on here. Non-domicile CDLs are drivers that are not U.S. citizens. That's all that is. We have oversight failures allowed.
Permanent residents, too. Non-U.S. citizens, but permanent residents now with the non-domicile.
Yeah. So, oversight failures allowed. Weak identity verification. Somewhere in New York, there was a woman showing up taking CDL tests for men. There you go. So inconsistent testing standards. Here's one. I want to throw it out there real quick to chew on in a minute. But how is it that you have to be able to read, understand, and speak our language, but they're giving you a CDL test in a foreign language? What the hell is the purpose of that? That's the dumbest shit I ever seen. So state by state loopholes. Every state has had a loophole, and they shouldn't. It should be consistent across the board. A CDL, commercial driver's license, is supposed to mean the same thing in every state. It didn't. We're supposed to, from the time I got my CDL until today, it's the same way I teach my guys, is that we are held to a higher standard than every other driver on the road. That is the way we were taught. It's certainly the way it is enforced upon us. Okay? If you're in an accident, 99% of the time, you're going to get blamed because you're the professional driver.
Yeah.
So understanding that and moving forward is imperative to making this stuff work. California is the flashpoint. Audits flagged thousands of improperly issued CDLs. California planned a mass revocations. Lawsuits have now delayed enforcement until 2026. Drivers remain active. This is what kills me. Drivers remain active during the delay. Delay enforcement doesn't fix the problem. It just extends it. That's all it does. All right, Ron, go.
Well, I know I sound repetitive, but we're fixing it. We're fixing it, and it's going to take time, but it's coming, guys. 2026, from a regulatory standpoint, is going to be a much better year.
Well, I certainly hope so. I think so too. As long as they keep on it and something doesn't happen that
the lawsuits are my concern.
No, well, I'm not concerned about the lawsuits.
Well, I'm concerned about the delay of it. I know they're going to win because it's federal, and what they're arguing, time limit. Well, what's the time limit? 90 days isn't enough. Well, who's going to decide what is enough? I don't know. I guess if they have a liberal judge, he might say, yeah, you're right. It's not enough time. I don't know. But at the end, I know the DOT will win. But in the meantime, you have, like you said, they get to go out there and drive in the meantime.
Well, they may drive in California, but if they cross that state line, they're going to be put out of service. And if they can't speak, watch.
Yeah. And well, that's another one that the standard of what was I going to say? I lost my train of thought. The state, how you said that state by state should be it should be the same. We're getting there. And that's part of the
federal
school,
law regulator.
Yeah, and they're going out. They went after the schools. Remember that? Mm-hmm. They went after the state DOT offices so that they comply with these rules. And it's just such a mess, though. There's so much rot in the system. Oh, yeah. We're just getting in. We're just at the surface right now. But 2025 was a good year for DOT. I think overall it was a good year, a very productive year.
Jason, you got something?
Sorry about that. I've had some background noise here, so I had my mic muted. I think Minnesota does a better job of regulating their daycares than the CDL industry does regulating their truck driving schools.
Oh yeah.
What's happening in that situation?
Damn it, boy.
We need to find a way to standardize those schools to get guys some actual drive time so that when they do hit the road, they're not depending on some massive company to come in and actually retrain them on how to drive a truck. You've got guys coming into this industry and burning out immediately because they're going to work for Swift or some of these others that are basically just running them whenever their clock says they can run. There's got to be some common sense brought into this. There's got to be some standardization as to how people are trained, and there's got to be some responsibility taken for the enforcement of that. I think that's the biggest thing. And as far as DOT compliance is concerned, I think it's coming. I think I read somewhere we've got another $118 million that's coming into DOT enforcement that's going to get granted to states that apply for it. So you're about to see some officers out on the road. They're going to be there. You're going to see the roadside inspections going up.
Yeah.
So it's really, I think, a regime change. So do the Republicans win in 2028 to keep this going? Or do we go back to blue state mentality? I'm sorry for bringing politics into it, but that's what's going to happen to change it is you'll get somebody that wants to have illegals on the road and wants to have these illegals brought across. That's what's going to change. But I think for the next few years, your diesel prices are going to stay regulated a little bit. You're going to have you're going to have compliance trying to get enforced. But
yeah,
it's
I think you'll see those numbers go up year after year.
John, you got anything for us?
Well, I'm just I can follow what Jason's saying about the big company pushing the drivers to run when the ELD says they can run. But I believe that the reason is, as long as the big companies are allowed to just think about money, it's not going to change. It got to be the whole system, the whole model with pay by miles is another issue. Because the more miles you run, the more money you make. Instead of having a minimum pay for the time you're out, plus a bonus for the miles you're running, then people are not going to be so hungry to make money all the time, no matter what the costs are.
Well, okay. All right. Let's run this up here. Okay, this is not about a race to nationality or nation. Okay. This is not about race or nationality. The FMCSA's actions are credential-based. Enforcement focuses on licensing integrity, training verification, legal eligibility to operate. Same rules apply to everyone. Everyone. It doesn't matter whether you're a one-truck company or a 500-truck company. These rules apply to all of us. Legal and qualified, you're welcome. Come on in. Anything else, and you need to be off the road. Because listen, people, it's our families that's going down the road driving beside these people. It's going to be our families that get caught up in this mess and get killed. So you need to think about this. And insurance doesn't care about the politics. I've said it before. You know, your underwriters look at your loss runs or your loss history. Enforcement consistency. Driver vetting. Weak gatekeeping equals higher perceived risk. Risk is passed on to us, smaller fleets, first, because we don't have the ability to fight it. Insurance reacts faster than regulations, and it already has. It absolutely already has. CDL school fraud and testing failures. Federal scrutiny on CDL schools increased. Thousands of schools have been removed from training registries. Training mills have undermined safety, public trust, and insurance confidence. When training becomes a rubber stamp, crashes are inevitable. This is a huge one for me. It's huge because drivers coming out of school know nothing, absolutely nothing. So let's talk about this.
Well, I think your first point there.
Go ahead.
I think your first it's not about race or nationality. I think that's, I think it's obvious, but people watching may not know. But yeah, I mean, nobody here it's all about legal immigration. That's it.
That's it.
Nothing else. Come here illegal and work your ass off, start your business, live the American dream. It's been happening since we're celebrating 250 years of immigration. I mean, it's a beautiful thing, man. Everybody wants to come here. It's great. We want you to come here. We welcome you here. We absolutely need you here. But you got to be legal. It's got to be done the right way.
It's got to be done the right way. And if it's not done the right way, then get out.
Yeah.
And try again.
And try again.
You know, even Monopoly, you go directly to jail. You do not pass go. You do not collect $200. That's a board game, people.
Yeah.
That's simple. Jason, what you got, buddy?
I think you've said it. I don't have anything to add to that. We're obviously wanting legal drivers, and if you can't speak English, you're not a legal driver. And it doesn't matter where you're from. If you can't read and write, you shouldn't be driving a truck. It's just that simple. Nothing to do with nationality. It really doesn't.
It doesn't.
If you can't read and write, you shouldn't be driving a truck. So that's kind of where I stand with that. And I guess nationalism does have something to do with it. You don't want terrorists coming across and jumping in big fights. That kind of thing. But that's the biggest thing to me is how do you have a guy that I saw a video of a guy sitting in front of a no parking sign and the DOT officer saying, what's that sign say? It says no parking. So what's that mean? No parking.
I was at a I was
dropping no clue that he's not supposed to be parked there.
I was at a customer and a guy couldn't understand slot 11. They said put it in parking spot 11. Couldn't understand that. 11. Couldn't understand 11.
Jan, what you got? I see unmuted.
I've seen our shippers put on our bill of lading, driver must be able to speak English and wear shoes or non-open-toed shoes. How embarrassing is it to an industry when you have to tell the driver or say on your bill of lading, you have to be able to read and you should wear proper footwear? That's the industry we are working in now. And how embarrassing is that's what we're a part of. We need to clean it up. It needs to get better. And it can get better.
It can,
So
that's one that irks me too, man. Like that's another thing. This is if you want to be called a professional and considered professional, dress like a damn professional. At the very basic level.
I agree with Jason that if you can't speak English, you shouldn't be in a semi. But for me, if you can't speak English, you shouldn't even be in a four-wheeler.
Well, I agree with that. I agree with that too. How are we giving driver's license to people that can't read a road sign?
Yeah.
Well, they buy them.
I totally agree with you. When is that thing going to come down?
It's never going to come down.
Well, it's coming down. Well, Duffy's working on that. If you guys haven't noticed, I love Duffy. I mean, that guy's amazing. He's the best DOT secretary we've had.
Hey, hang on one second. We got Mila coming out. Oh, you got Tennessee is handling children's books to read out loud at the way stations and DOT stops. Witness this firsthand. And there you go. If you can't read it, you can't make it happen.
I think you put a video up of a real live DOT doing a English proficiency test on a guy that was parked on the side of the road.
Yeah,
you put a video on that a while back. If you guys want to check that out, it's how it was real. It's not fake. It was actually a real stop on a body cam footage.
I'm going to try to add James Copeland here real quick and see if it'll pop up. Hang on. Hey, look at that. Hey, James, how you doing?
Hey, how's it going, fellas?
Yeah, man. What do you got on all this mess?
Oh man, where do you start? I mean, this was 20 years ago.
Yeah. Mila said we had so many comments that you just should come on live.
I'm sorry. It's as being a 20-year member of the transportation community and being prior service, it's kind of hard for me to keep my mouth shut.
No, I hear you.
So.
No, I hear you. Well, we're getting ready to jump on to the next topic here real quick. And then what we're doing, if you haven't figured it out, is we're just hitting a little topic and then we're talking about it a minute and then we're going on to the next thing. So let me see if I can get Roman add it back to the stage.
I just
you
had a
fell
hearing
off on
problem.
me, man.
Yeah.
Okay. Let's see what I'm waiting on this thing to blow up here in a second. We got 5 people and I'm getting ready to run this on the side. So I don't know what it'll do. All right. So the next thing is the nuclear verdict. These things have got to stop. If you don't know what a nuclear verdict is, a nuclear verdict is when a jury awards 10, 20, $50 million for a single accident. Insurance companies do not absorb that. They have a $1 million liability and the rest of it goes out. Every trucker is who absorbs these things. Premiums rise, coverage shrinks, and small fleets disappear. We don't just punish the bad actors anymore, guys. We erase entire companies with nuclear verdicts. And then act surprised when insurance explodes. And this has been going on for a minute now. How good carriers get punished? With strong carriers, they pay more. They get stricter underwriting. They lose margins. Bad actors dilute the pool. Public crashes affect everyone's rates. One bad license can raise premiums of 100 good drivers. And those numbers I've got from the Insurance Institute. So there we are talking about insurance again.
Yeah.
And it seems like it's all revolving. And I think when you put it all together, you take people who cannot read and do U-turns that kill people, that kill others. You take immigrants that can't read. They do U-turns. They kill 3 people in Florida, 5 in Texas, whatever. A whole bunch of people die, and it makes national news. Insurance gets nervous. They start looking into it and realize they've got a trucking industry that is just full of rot. It is dirty. It's just dirty. A lot of criminal aspects have gotten into it. You have one person from India getting a trucking company and then basically smuggling, teaching others to come over and drive for them for 20 cents a mile. They put 4 in a truck and the truck never stops. And this is what's happening. It is dirty. This industry has been so neglected, so where the DOT officers on the road can only do so much, but all aspects of it has been so neglected for so many years that now every time you take a step, when you uncover one thing, I swear to God, it's like that house, Roman. We would uncover one thing and find 4 others under it. And it's like, Jesus Christ, this will never end. It's craziness.
The trucking
the house I'm talking about, guys, is I had a rental house and I had a hoarder in it. And they destroyed the house. So short story long, it took 10 months and, about $250,000 to fix it. But
the owner of my company just went through the same thing.
Yeah. I mean, a buddy of mine was in the garage. We were there for 2 days and Mila walked in and said, "What have you been doing?" We hadn't gotten out of the garage yet. And it's because everything we moved, there was something else behind it. And it's the same thing with this industry right now. Every time they touch something, they find another pile of crap underneath it.
Yeah.
And that's what's going on. So let's talk about it. Copeland, sir, what do you got?
Personally, I think one of the biggest things is with the authorities that are issued to these, there needs to be a different type of authority instead of just motor carrier authority for these brokers that are coming in here creating these ghost carriers. And I'm sorry, but if you have the authority to dispatch people into ports or to haul hazardous freight and things of this nature, you need to pass the exact same background check that's required of the people that you are authorizing out here on the road.
Yeah, that's a good point. And we have something coming up on the brokers in a minute.
If I've got to have a real ID and a TWIC card and a hazmat endorsement and all this stuff and this huge FBI background check, why don't that? And that would stop the chameleon carriers.
That's right. Yep, I get it. Roman? Roman's without words.
No. I was looking at my notes here. The nuclear options, we sort of touched on this, I think it was 2 weeks ago, of how insurance companies are trying to narrow down using data and all kinds of stuff they can use to see where these are happening the most. So if you live in a state or maybe they have a lot of nuclear options, guess what? You're pulling out some cheddar for your insurance.
You mean a lot of nuclear
verdicts? Yes, I'm sorry.
Okay.
Nuclear verdicts.
Yeah.
They're going to be. They're trying to narrow those down to see where this is happening. And if you live in one of those hot spots where the data shows, man, they've had 3 nuclear verdicts in the last year or something like that.
Oh, absolutely.
Good luck to you. You might need to figure out how to relocate your insurance. That's how they're trying to deal with that, though.
Yeah,
it seems like they're
Let me
using.
understand, if we've got $1 million worth of coverage, our coverage stops at $1 million. So why does the insurance company care if it's a $50 million verdict? It's not coming out of their pocket; it's coming out of my pocket, or whatever's left in my pocket.
Right.
So how do these verdicts change the rates? They've already
that $1 million. That $1 million is, that's that they don't want to lose a dime of that. They don't want any of it going. They just want to collect the premiums.
Right.
So every dime of risk you're paying $40 for. That's just how they operate. John, you got your mic off, brother.
No, I don't.
I mean, on. I thought you had something to say.
Well, yeah, no, but it's just the whole insurance. Well, after you negotiated insurance, my insurance went down. I'm happy about it. Thank you for a good job. But I don't understand why it is an industry that is insured. It is not the person.
And,
like your credit score. It takes time to build a good credit score.
Yeah.
Like it should take you time to get a cheaper insurance. You got to prove that you know how to drive. You got to prove you know how to avoid accidents. And then you get benefited by having a cheaper insurance.
But they're basing insurance now on your domicile.
Yeah, but that's bullshit.
Well, I know what you're saying. And theoretically that would be, and that's sort of kind of how it used to be. But there's a lot of factors here that are insurance, whether you're a good driver or not, is going up right now for a lot of reasons. But for the reasons that are for this topic is the nuclear options like Bryan's talking about, and a lot of the trucks are getting more expensive. It's these things are all playing a factor into why insurance is going up. Despite I haven't had an accident in 10 years, I got 1 million miles. Well, it doesn't matter. They're going up.
You park in a bad location.
You park in a bad location. You live in a state where
you better knock on
there's
some
a lot
wood,
of
buddy.
nuclear. There's a lot of things. So technically, theoretically, you're right. It should be like a credit score, but it's just in practice. It's how it used to be, but it's not like that anymore. Though there's a lot of cargo theft going on now. That's another big thing. Guess what? Another reason insurance is going to go up. Yeah, and so there's a lot of factors that go into insurance. that are outside of your control, even things that go on the other side of the planet, through reinsurance that.
But if a company have a driver apply for a job, or a company got 2 drivers apply for a job, if the company is going to put both drivers in a vehicle, one driver cost them $10,000 a year in insurance, the other one cost them $5,000 in insurance. Why does the $10,000 one still get the job? Because apparently he's a bad driver.
Well, I think. Well, you might
not now. He's not. He could just be in a bad domicile. I mean,
yeah, but that's
what I mean.
problem.
There's a lot of
why is your driving record based on where you live?
That's what I was trying to explain earlier. So when the insurance companies went to this method, the reason they done that is because they realized that their system was flawed as far as the kicks that they were getting, as with regard to claims and expenses and everything else. So they went back to a clean sheet and they said, okay, let's treat this like an internet search. When you're going on like autotrader.com and you're looking for a specific vehicle, you set your filters, year, make, model, mileage, whatever. They went to a clean slate and said, what filters are going to get us down to the meat and potatoes of eliminating our largest risk? And what they found was it had very little to do with your personal driving record. It had almost nothing to do with your personal driving record. What it had to do with, where were you most frequently running?
Yes.
What were you hauling? And the biggest thing was these nuclear verdicts that he's talking about. And when they say nuclear, they don't just mean your company got hit with a huge charge because you think, oh, well, my insurance only got hit for $1 million or what, their insurance liability is only $1 million. No, it's been going deeper than that, because these filings or these verdicts, the biggest problem that they have is once a nuclear verdict happens, they don't just go after the carrier or the operator. They go after everybody. They go after the broker. They go after the shipper. They go after the insurance company, telling them they should have never even had that driver insured to be on the road.
Yeah,
exactly.
There's a lot of factors.
It don't matter how good or bad driver you is. It depends on where you live.
It does matter, but it matters with regard to the insurance company's side of what they're doing. It's a very little impact to them and the service that they provide and the liability that they hold. It's a very little impact to them from what their data is showing over the last 10 to 15 years. Their data is showing that driver quality has far less to do with their impact from these verdicts and settlements, et cetera, than where the vehicle is domiciled, the type of freight that you're hauling, and
it matters.
A prime example was the other day when I was talking to the guy about Arizona, and he said, I said, why is Arizona so high? And he said, because there's a lot of old people that live out there that crash into shit and they sue each other.
Yep.
That's exactly why it's high. You know, to me, that's funny, but then you look at it and it's true. Yep. You know, the same thing goes with Florida. Why is Florida so high?
Florida and North Carolina both are crazy.
Yeah.
Yeah. So no, James explained that perfectly. And that's kind of what I was trying to articulate, is there's so many factors. And so what it's theoretically, you're right, it should be on the driver. But I think even when you have a big carrier with like 200 truck drivers, I don't even know that the insurance company is necessarily looking at you like, is this a good, it's more like a base qualification. Like that's why you see on applications DUI after over 3, you can't have it within 3 years. You can't have more than one accident. You know, it's like the criteria is if you're hireable, but the company, I know what you're saying, and theoretically that makes sense. But James, I think hit it right. There's so many factors that
it's just like we have to be accountable for our job, but now the insurance company, rather than allocate coverage and charges the way that we feel is accountable, they have to be accountable for their actual side of the business, not what we're doing. So,
and they reassessed it, like you said,
because they hold the responsibility of these verdicts and their settlements. They have to look at what's most effective to cut that out for them, as opposed to what actually makes a good driver or sustainable fleet.
Right. Okay. All right. I'm going to jump up here real quick and run to this next topic. Let's see what we got here. All right. So everybody asked, and I knew it was in here somewhere. It says, what is the FMCSA doing about freight brokers for 2026? Over a year ago, I talked about this situation. And now 2026, January 16th, it's coming to fruition, and it's stricter financial security rules take effect January 16th. The FMCSA is enforcing a new rule requiring freight brokers and freight forwarders to hold their $75,000 surety bond or trust backed only, this is the big kicker, by liquid assets. Okay? Like cash, U.S. treasuries, or other irrevocable letters of credit. Bonds backed by non-liquid assets will no longer qualify, and brokers must replace them or lose the authority. Non-compliance means immediate suspension. If a broker surety or trust falls below the required $75,000 and isn't replaced quickly, 7 days. Under the updated rules, 7 days. The FMCSA can suspend that broker's operating authority immediately, essentially taking them out of the market. Compliance clock and trustee verification. The FMCSA is verifying which trust providers are actually eligible. If a broker used a non-compliant trust provider, they'll get a short window, about 30 days, to fix it. If they fail, their authority gets suspended. This is being described industry-wide as a purge of brokers lacking general financial backing. The results will be a broker shakeout in 2026. Industrial analysts and news outlets are calling this a major shakeup, with many smaller or financially unstable brokers expected to be forced out of business when the rule starts. Some commentators even say this will effectively shut down thousands of brokers because liquid financial backing at this level is a higher bar than many currently meet. So let's talk about it, guys. I am thrilled, personally, with that decision.
Oh, good. I just wanted to say, my man Duffy, you know, again, he's just doing his thing, man.
Yeah, send him flowers, man. Send him flowers.
He's awesome. The guy's awesome. I love him.
You know, I don't know how. I don't think any of you. I don't know, Copeland. You may, but we've been stiffed several times by bad brokers, and
it's only happened to us. Well, the first time they corrected it, albeit very late and very delayed. The other time, I think. Thank God it just wasn't for much. I mean, they only hit us for about $7,000. So,
yeah. Well, I think year before last we got took for $22,000 between the brokers that failed. We had a broker that just out of business, closed the doors. You know, that stuff's going to happen.
Might as well sign off the drivers for the quarter on that one.
Yeah. So. it's just that kind of stuff happens. And what really happened is they continued to broker loads, even though they were insolvent and unable to pay. They continued for months to broker loads, and the one company was $2.5 million in the hole by the time they shut down. So those kind of things, I think, will be stopped by this, and I think it's a great thing. The one thing I wish they would do, because of the amount of money that can be brokered in 7 days, is I would like them to raise that up to about $1 million. But that's a whole different animal there.
I think it ought to be by percentage of annual volume after the first initial year. So even if they carry $75,000, if next year they're moving $800,000 in freight, then they need to carry $80,000. It ought to be a certain percentage.
I can go along with that one.
Yeah, I think
yes, it needs to be raised,
sense.
and you need to set the bar high enough that you've got to be financially stable to even get in the game.
The key here is liquidity. They used to be able just to get a bond from an insurance company, and nothing regulated whether or not that insurance company had that much liquid.
Yeah.
So now with this situation, this is a much higher bar that's going to have to be.
But there again, if they would do background checks and force these people into the same level of compliance as those they're ordering around with their authority, that would change a whole lot.
I agree.
Of the problems we're seeing.
Yep. Yeah. Jan, you got something?
No, but there's a lot about the industry over here that for me, it don't make any sense that the way it's done is actually legal. No, but it
seems like a Ponzi scheme, doesn't it?
Yeah, it kind of does, because in Europe, a broker have to have a permit from the state, and I'm not talking about a state like North Carolina or whatever, but from the government.
Mm-hmm.
To open the business. But to be able to get it, you have to have a bank account with a certain amount of money on it. And that bank account is locked.
What they have now. Because they have an authority just like we have an authority. And then on top of that, they have that $75,000 assurity, which is virtually the same thing. They have an assured amount of liquid funds that are accessible at any given point in time.
Yeah, but like you're saying, the more money you make, the higher the amount would be.
Yes.
75,000, what the flip?
Well, I mean, you got to look at it from a broker side. I mean, brokers, as far as their particular liability on a per load basis, is nowhere near what we consider. I mean, to us, $75,000 is nothing. To a broker, that could be a bunch of loads. I mean, that could be 150 loads, especially if they handle a lot of short change business on short distance runs or partials. There's a lot of brokers out here that deal with nothing but partials. That's all they do. And $75,000 could be 75 loads, could be 200.
Yeah.
Yeah, but if you don't have the money
now
to
you're
start
backing them up with
what
they
it
don't
takes
need
to
as
start
much.
the business,
They need at least that more.
Oh yeah, I'm not saying that they don't. What I'm saying is looking at it from our point of view, I don't think that $75,000 is a bad baseline. However, these mega companies over there, I mean, C.H. Robinson shouldn't be allowed to run on $75,000.
No,
right?
Yeah, no, I see his point. I think you're underlying.
I'm not trying to bash a broker. I appreciate brokers, and I see their value in the industry. And I love seeing little guys come into the business, but at the same time, I don't see the point in a company like C.H. Robinson running on $75,000 shirt.
No,
Yeah.
I agree. I think
Okay.
the overall point of what he said in the beginning is it's a percentage
Yeah, I
Mhm.
like the
and
percentage.
fluctuate on
Keep
that. Yeah.
going.
Okay. Let's see what we got going on here. So, why the collapse is a real risk. All right. Think about this a minute. Freight rebounds plus enforcement is going to equal driver shock. Okay. Or should I say the lack of drivers? Then you have non-qualified drivers removed out of the system quickly. Capacity tightens overnight. Rates spike unevenly. Shippers lose confidence. Again, collapse doesn't mean no trucks. It means out of balance. Stuff is wrong. Things stop working. I have a less talk about it on this, but I'm not going to talk about it. It just is what it is.
Okay.
So my 2026 freight outlook is this. I think we're going to have a slow recovery. I think we're still in the great freight recession. People keep saying, oh, it's over. No, it's not. I think that it has been extended through tariffs and all that crazy menagerie.
Yeah, that's a
So
whole
now
nother,
we have,
yeah.
yeah, that's a whole different story there. We have
Yeah.
regulatory pressure that's increasing. Okay. And this is something I want to tell all my guys is to make sure, and everybody that's watching, is to make sure your stuff is right, because the regulatory pressure is coming. The inspections are coming. It is coming. Okay. It's here. Smaller carriers may face being forced out just by the pressure. And compliance will determine survival. 2026 won't reward volume. It's going to reward discipline. Checking those tires when it's raining. Doing the things you don't want to do because it has to be done. That's what's going to keep us rolling in 2026. The only way forward, as I see it, is uniform federal CDL enforcement. We have the regulations. We need the enforcement. Real identity and domicile verifications across the board, whether it's a driver, whether it's a carrier or a broker or freight forwarder, they all need to have real IDs. And if you don't have a real ID and a broker there should be nothing issued to a non-domicile for brokerage. Nothing. Accountability for everyone, for the states, for the schools, for the carriers, with no political carve-outs. This is not a political thing. Standards aren't optional in a safety-driven industry like trucking. It's not an option. Legal plus qualified equals welcome. Illegal or unqualified equals off the road. Again, uniform federal enforcement, real CDL verification, accountability for everyone. Okay? It survives on standards, not sympathy. Okay? My final position is this. Freight survives on trust, standards, and enforcement. This industry doesn't collapse from enforcement. It collapses when enforcement disappears. That's how it is, guys. Now we can talk about that. However, you guys think a minute. I'm going to get a drink of water.
That's waiting on it.
Yeah, we're going to just take a 30-second break here. I'm going to get a drink of water. And so we got to go take a break and go to the beach. And I bought this little drone and we cut up a video here. I'm going to put it up here to show you guys. And then I'll be right back and we'll finish this thing up. So that was my little drone experiment.
Certainly improved towards the end of the video.
Well, I'm sure it did. That was Miss Mila modeling with the drone, but I thought that was a pretty cool deal. So we talk about it. What are we thinking about it? What do you think about 2026? Where we're at, where we're going? You know, we're just going to start with Jason. We're going to go around the horn.
I'm sticking with my original comments. Keep your head up, boys. 2026 isn't going to be that bad. It's getting better. It's a slow better, but it's getting better. If we can keep
right,
and we can keep the trucks moving, keep your head up.
Yep.
We're fine.
Thank you. Jan, what you thinking, buddy?
Well, the last couple of weeks when I've been on the road, especially over east, for me, when you look at the traffic pattern, I don't know if it's because they've been taking so many drivers off the road or people are actually getting scared and paying attention to what the flip they're doing. But for me, the traffic has changed. And
okay,
I'm hoping that it's going to get even better.
Okay.
Because there's a big difference between going down the interstate and you're doing 70 and you got semis flying by you doing 75, 80 miles an hour.
Right.
The super truckers.
And then 10 miles off the road, they're on the side of the road because the piece of crap they're driving broke down.
Right. All right. Well,
So
Rome, what you think, man?
Keep everything down. Keep your expenses down. Then everything's going to work out.
There you go. That's exactly right. You got to be in here. Roman, what you got?
Well, I wanted to touch on the slow recovery expected. Yeah, man. I mean, we're going to get to some better rates here, but it is going to be slow because there still is some uncertainty going into 2026. But we are going to get a verdict from the Supreme Court about the legality of these tariffs. And we should get that by Q1 of 2026. That is an important date that we should all be marking on our calendar, because what they decide is going to determine what we're going to, like, the recovery of 2026. So that's an important thing. And then the regulations, man, like I said throughout the night, it's I think 2025 was a great year for regulation for our industry. And I know regulations is a bad word, but in this case, it's a beautiful word because we need it. And I only see 2026 getting better because we're going to have better enforcement. We're going to have better understanding. It's just going to be a smoother thing going into year 2 of this administration and enforcement of not just the illegal from abroad, like as a whole of the country, but as it relates to our industry and what we're talking about tonight. I really have high hopes for 26 and getting these bad actors out. I'm not expecting the rot to be eliminated this year. I'm not saying that by any means, but I am saying we touched the surface of the rot this year. By next year, we're going to get into that first layer of that rot. And I'm excited about that. And I think it's going to be pretty solid.
Thank you. Thank you. James, what you got, buddy?
Let's face it. I mean, as far as things at the federal level and all of that stuff, we really can't affect that. As far as freight rates, we have a very minor influence over that. And I think one of the biggest things that's helped me here recently is I had to talk with the guy that's doing my dispatching a lot of the time and just say, hey, man, we've got to expand this deadhead zone because there's zones that you'll get into. I know Florida is a 600-mile long state, but when you're down there, freights are so low that you can afford to go all the way back up into Georgia, all the way back up into North Carolina, pick up a load that pays $1,500 and still make the same thing at the end of 2 days than you would have picking up that cheap freight running out of Florida. And I'm not one of these don't run cheap freight guys. All I'm saying is you got to look at cost over productivity for this year. Absolutely. Number one, if we don't do everything we can do to maintain both our productivity and our margins, but we're just going to have to keep those margins, because if we don't and we start failing on that, we're never going to see a recovery out of it. There's too much influx in the industry right now. And until they do something, I love the opportunity of the industry. I love that people can come into this with a minor investment compared to most businesses.
Yeah.
But, and I love to see people succeed. I have nothing against that. But we have so much hype and so much influx on YouTube right now. Everywhere I pull into, every young cat under the age of 35, oh man, I bet you're making a bunch of money. I like your rig, this, that, and the other. I'm hauling a 2015 Raggedy PJ and a baseline Chevrolet dually. And they think that Hotshot is just all this money, and there's no accountability out there, no transparency about the reality of, it's big numbers and money, but the profits are not that's not there. And that's one of the reasons why I love watching Bryan so much, because it's brass tacks. We're not catching the hype we are everywhere else, but we've got to survive this influx, and eventually it will fall back. But right now, there's nothing we can do about it, and it's only going to get worse this year until probably at least late summer.
Okay.
Can I just comment on something?
Absolutely.
So what James said there, I think, is one of the, and I agree with you, James. I think a lot of people on YouTube feed a very false understanding of this industry. And that's one of the things that I think Bryan does well and DD214 does well. And what I try to also do by coming on here weekly is that, like, let's not bullshit people, man. And look, we know people that have come on here and thrown this beautiful story and they're no longer around. Where are they? Who the hell knows? We're not going to name names, Bryan, but we know who we're talking. We know. So, but no, James, you hit on a point there that I think is important. That there's a lot of people that think what they think because they're getting bad information. And I think that that's really something that we try to do here is to keep it straight with you guys. Sometimes it's rough, man. Like the insurance thing, you know, we're not going to sit there and tell you it's all Gucci. Insurance is a bitch right now. And,
well, I mean,
we talk about it.
Sorry to interrupt, but
No, go ahead.
You touched on something there. I've even seen a lot of these YouTube guys, and the biggest problem is they're using YouTube to subsidize their lack of profits and Hotshot.
Yes,
that's all it is.
Or TikTok. We got TikTok stars out here.
They do these financial breakdowns, and people think they see everything.
Yeah.
Just like this one guy, again, just like you, I'm not going to mention names, but I addressed his video last night to where he went through all his financial breakdown. And then at the end of it, he compared his profit margin to a typical company driver income for an 18-wheeler. And he said, I'm making 20 cents more a mile than this driver. You know, of course, I'm not going to go drive a big truck. I said, my first comment was, yeah, you're talking about someone who's just a driver. I've been there. I did that for 15 years in an 18-wheeler. I was just a driver. In this industry, you're the driver, you're the equipment maintainer, you're the buyer.
Right.
You've got 16 titles rolling behind the wheel of that truck, and people think, oh, well, there's better margins. No, there's not. Your workload is 10 times more. You're getting paid for 10 different positions, not just one.
Yeah, I was told the other day in no uncertain terms when this gentleman called me, he said, you know, you don't make this industry look sexy. I said, it's not sexy, man.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
I would much rather tell you the truth than to have to deal with your bullshit later when you come in here and get slapped in the face with reality.
Yeah,
I don't want that. I'm going to tell you the truth. And guys, I'm telling you now, we turn down more people than we accept. And what we're talking about here is real. It's what you're gonna. It's what we experience. It's what you're gonna see. We don't sugarcoat it because I'm a diabetic and I would die. So,
and I'm just allergic to bullshit. So,
yeah, exactly. So, you know, it's one of these things where if you're going to get in this business, I want you to know exactly what you're going to get into, because that's what's important. You will hear me talk about getting into this business right, getting in this business correct, because guys, this business will eat you alive if you don't get into it right. You will work for payments. You will do nothing but try to survive. And that is not where anybody wants to be. So, Happy New Year to everybody. Look at all us sitting around here.
Happy New Year.
Yeah. And, you know, I'm hoping that you all have a great New Year's. We're looking at 2026. I'm looking forward to 2026. You know, when you love to do something, it's hard not to look forward till tomorrow. These last 2 weeks, with the way everything is split up, all the guys are home. Man. It has killed me.
Work 2 days, off a week, work 3 days, off another week.
It's terrible.
There's no consistency.
So I'm ready to get back at it. James, you get me some time and we'll sit down and have that cup of coffee.
Yeah, I'm sorry I didn't get a chance to get around to that, but
you're good.
Both of our availabilities just I was expecting a lot of downtime with the holidays, and I did over Christmas, but I mean, here it is. This is what, Wednesday, and by the time I deliver on Friday, I'm really surprised for the week.
Good.
I actually am too. It's been pretty busy.
Well, good deal.
I didn't think it'd be that busy. So, I was surprised too.
No.
I don't think that's sort of the end of the show. And, you know, like I said, I want to wish everybody a happy New Year. I'm glad everybody got time with their family. And day after tomorrow, it's time to start getting back to work and getting some things done. So, guys, thank you. I'm going to let you go now. Oh, no.
We missed it.
I don't know what that said. Was it a question? All right, guys, this is it. This is Bryan with DD214. We have James on board. We had Jan on board. We got Jason here. We got Roman in the house. I'm really, really excited that you guys are here. We're hoping that 2026 is going to be better than 2025 and worse than 2027. So love your family, guys, because it's all you got. This is Bryan with DD214 Transport. Like, subscribe, hit the little bell for notification, and we will see you in 2026. Hasta luego, guys.